welcome to the Sanity Series. I am here with Zoya Surani, a rising junior at Harvard College. Zoya, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. And thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Of course. Lovely, lovely to have you. First, I would love to understand your educational interests. What brought you and what inspired you to pursue the educational field that you are doing today?
So, I'm definitely interested in neuroscience and education. I've always been interested in education because it's something that all of us go through, and we all have some sort of opinion or some sort of feedback for. My sisters and I worked a lot with teaching children 3 to 7 about obesities and diabetes. So that's one of the first times that I realized that I really like education. And then when I got to college, I didn't really want to let go of education, although science and medicine is one of my more major interests. I really loved how Harvard just had, like a couple of years before us, started the Ed Secondary program. So I just love education. I think there's a great value in teaching, and in the future, I would want to teach. I'm not sure what, but something.
Yeah, and I can totally see it in you. And I mean, for those of you who are listening and don't know this, Zoya and I actually tour guides together at the Peabody Museum, and I have watched Zoya give amazing tours to our tourists, but also just during training session. I remember first meeting you, I was blown away by just how naturally teaching just comes to you. So.
You're also a wonderful tour guide, and Tram is incredibly enthusiastic. And even if like we have training after a day of like school and P sets and maybe even exam, Tram's just there, bubbly, and you can't have no.
Oh, you're amazing, Zoya. And so you mentioned earlier, so you and your sister were teaching together. How old were you when you were doing that with your sister?
So it was around 2010 because my city, Corpus Christi, was named the fattest city in America. So that's not a good reputation to have for your
I had
city.
no idea. 2010. Okay. Wow. Okay.
So my sisters and I started a nonprofit called I Conquer. And so we just went to elementary schools, and in the PE period, we would have like fitness exercises, but also like educational puppet shows to teach about obesity and diabetes. I've always loved babysitting. I even, in third grade, I made a binder proposal to my parents for them to have another sibling because I'm the youngest, but I wanted a younger sibling. They rejected my proposal. So
What? They did? Do you still have this binder,
I
Zoya?
probably do somewhere,
You
but
have to find it and show it to us. Oh my gosh. That's
it
incredible.
just, I had pictures of what I wanted the child to look like. And I don't know why. Oh, I was obsessed with Nancy Drew at the time. And Nancy Drew's main star is Emma Roberts. So I wanted my little sister to look like Emma Roberts. And so it was just really funny because my parents were like, biology doesn't really work like that. We can't make a baby with brown hair and green eyes. And I was like, that's on y'all.
The top that they gave you.
And so
amazing.
I just, like neonatology, I mean, granted, I don't know if it will be what I do or not, but I do know that in one way or another, I want to be with children and to work with children in some way of my life. And so it's been a lot of figuring out whether medicine's the best route. And right now I do think it is, but I'm definitely open to other options and just seeing what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you seem to be so busy at school. Outside of school, what activities are you involved in, and what's been some of your highlights so far at being a student at Harvard College?
The best clubs I've been on in campus is Camp Kesem.
Yes.
And so Camp Kesem is a camp for children whose parents have cancer. And I remember I fortunately did not have, okay, wait, so let me explain this picture first. So I will be co-directing next year with Evelyn, who is in the banana suit. And Evelyn's camp name is Crush, and my camp name is Proton. So together we make Crouton, which is why we're in the bowl of croutons.
Are you at home right now in Corpus Christi with your family?
Yes. So I am in the office where usually people do not come in to disturb. So I don't think we'll be getting any visitors. but
why not? That'd be fun.
sometimes they do. That's why I try to position it so you can't see the door.
Then
So
walk in.
I can be like, what? But I'm here with my mom, my dad, my grandpa, and my 2 sisters. And so my 2 sisters are older than me. And it's just been really nice because it's the first time the 6 of us have been home together since my oldest sister was in high school, which was 6 years ago ish. So it's definitely been weird being home, especially since Corpus has a lot less going on than Boston. And it was definitely a bummer having to leave school and like having to leave a lot of friends behind because there's not a lot of people from college in my area. The closest person's probably around 2.5 hours drive from Texas, like in Texas. But it's been really nice having friends, like catching up with high school friends, having family time. And it's really nice to be home and be all together because like I feel like we haven't had this in such a long time. It's weird, but it's just really nice. And it feels like how it was when we were younger.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I definitely can see that your family and how big and how wonderful it is has influenced just your love for people and your activities and all the passions that you've pursued in your life. Has your family influenced your love for medicine in any way, or even your love for education in any way?
Yeah, so my dad is a pulmonologist and sleep physician. And so he's definitely been in medicine for a long time. He actually decided medicine based on a coin flip because he didn't know what
What
to
was the in between?
engineering. So
Okay.
engineering and medicine. So he didn't know where to apply when he was in Pakistan. So and it was medicine. And so he's definitely fallen in love with it over the many years he's been in it, to the point where on family vacations, he willingly reads books about pulmonology and lungs. And I'm just like, why? Today, I actually got my email from like National EMT that I got certified. So I can practice in Texas, which is really
Oh
cool.
my gosh, wait, I have a picture of the EMT team that Zoya was a part of. I'd like to show everyone.
So y'all can't see where I point, but hopefully you can find me.
Or right here. I can't tell where you are.
Oh wait, I think the camera's flipped.
Yes, so yes, but find Zoya. That's the guessing game. If you find Zoya, please comment in the comments.
I did this EMT course this summer because, like I was saying earlier, how COVID coronavirus quarantine makes you kind of rethink whether this is what you want to do. So I remember I originally saw these summer plans. I was supposed to be in Pakistan with my grandma and doing research, but that didn't end up happening. And so I was figuring out what to do. And luckily, CovEd, which is what Tram mentioned earlier about continuing K through 12 education in students through one-on-one mentoring. But I was also considering studying for my MCAT because I was like, there's such a good chunk of time I can just get through practice problems, get through content review. But as I was studying for the MCAT, I didn't really have a lot of motivation because I'd had passive experiences of medicine. For example, I had shadowed and I'd seen that this is something I'd like to do. But I'd done like cognitive neuroscience research, but I didn't have an active experience or something where I actually did it and something depended on me. And so that's actually why I found out about an EMT course from a friend who posted on a Snapchat story. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, tell me more. And so he told me more about it. And then I finished it just
That's awesome.
a week and a half ago. And then I took my national exam yesterday. Then I found out today that I passed. So it's definitely really exciting, but
That's
it was
amazing.
definitely.
Congrats.
Yeah, y'all are probably one of the first to know. I mean, apart from my family. But like
You're in for the juicy details about Zoya's life, y'all. That's awesome. And earlier you mentioned Pakistan, right? How often do you go there to visit? Your grandma still lives there? Other family members too? Or
So my grandma lives there, my mom's mom, and then my mom's sister. So I haven't gone to Pakistan. I was gonna go this summer, but I haven't gone since 2008.
yeah.
And but luckily, I saw my grandma last year because she came to visit.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I have
and
a lovely photo. I believe this is your grandma and you.
yeah, that is my grandma. So yeah, I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to see her this summer, especially because I told her, like I involved her in the process of like applying to like research, applying to funding, and so she was excited. But then obviously with the state of the world, she was also considering coming to like the US to
Yeah,
visit, but restrictions, safety,
it is. It's a lot.
quarantine facilities are just not the best right now. But I like baking. I especially like baking desserts, which is why this quarantine period has been a great period of weight gaining for my family because I just bake and bake and bake. And in high school, like if I had an exam and I knew I'd be like, oh, there's my family.
Your wonderful family. I want to cover your grandpa. So here I
You
am.
can cover me, but but yeah, so it's been really fun. I love baking. In high school, I would stress bake sometimes. Like if I had an exam or something at night, I would bake something. So by the time I was like, when it was in the oven, I would study, and then once it was done, I would get to eat it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's gonna happen this year. Being at home with classes, with harder classes, maybe I'll just keep baking.
And so what else have you done? I know you've been cooking and baking. Can you talk to us more about your masterpiece?
So I can share my screen to
Oh my
3.
gosh, we would love that.
Okay, so this is flan I made because
Wow.
for Father's Day, I decided to make my grandpa and my dad their favorite desserts. And so my dad was like, okay, tiramisu. So tiramisu is actually really easy if you like,
Really?
it takes like 20 minutes, I swear. It took 20 minutes.
20 minutes? Okay,
It
you're gonna
was
have to show me how you do it because that's my favorite dessert. So
really, I
yeah,
don't like coffee, so I actually didn't try it, but they said it was good.
you made it.
Um,
Yes.
But I remember my grandpa, he loves everything sweet. So I remember that like a few days earlier, he was talking about flan that his friend would always drop by our house.
Mhm.
But his friend moved to Houston. So like he hadn't had flan in a while. And I never made flan because I'd never made flan.
No explanation needed.
Yeah. This was my flan. It actually, when I was making it, I had like so many
Wow.
moments where I was like, "Oh my god, this is gonna come out terrible," and I'm relying on this to come out good for Father's Day. But it actually came out really, really good. My grandpa gave me an A+ and told me I could even open my own bakery.
Oh my gosh. You can start I can imagine you having a bakery and naming it Zoyas and just
I've,
having a bunch of food there. That's amazing.
I've thought about it. If I had a bakery, I'd probably name it So Good, like so
Oh
good,
my
so good. I've thought about this,
I would just go, just take a picture in front of the bakery with the sign "So Good" and leave. Maybe pack up a couple flans or two. But that's amazing.
It's
Wow.
good. And then this I made for my mom's.
Mm,
No, I made
these
this for
red
my sister.
velvet?
These are carrot cake
Oh,
with
carrot
pecan.
cake.
Yeah, because she loves carrot cake. This was also really fun to make. Um, Grating carrots is probably the most time-consuming part of it, but
Mm-hmm.
I like this. And then this last one is like, okay, so this is banana bread with walnuts and raisins, and this is probably like my classic. I use the
Wow.
same recipe from kindergarten that's like really nasty now because you know how when you bake, everything just gets a little gross.
Yeah.
So for some reason, my parents have decided to keep that recipe since kindergarten.
What do you mean by kindergarten? Like, did you make this recipe yourself? You just wrote
No,
it down?
so I
What do you
think
mean by that?
I think we did this in class as like an
Okay.
experiment or something with like portions or oops
Mm.
or portions or stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so I had written down the ingredients and
I see. I see.
we like make it every year for Thanksgiving. It's just something that's like really like relieving because it's just so intuitive to make. I still look at the recipe every time, and there's only 5 ingredients. It's just something I like to have with me. But yeah, like banana bread is literally like, oh, I've made it at school before for my PAFEs. We did a study break where we made them banana bread and like chocolate nut banana bread.
I'm
And
so jealous that you weren't my path. Wow. But I still love my fav. Shout out to Andrew, Clara, and Natalie. Love you. Love you. Amazing. Thank you so much, Zoya.
Thank you, Tram.